Hi, I'm Ivy Rivera, Psychic Medium. Welcome to the Ask a Medium live interactive show here on Ustream. I welcome you guys to log in with any of your psychic, mediumship, paranormal questions. If you lost an object, if you have a personal question for me, or anything on spiritual development, feel free to log in and send in your question. Should you have any difficulty with the technology, feel free to text your question in at 716-602-1391. I'll give that one more time, 716-602-1391. So this is the Ask a Medium show, and I'm coming to you from the Ivy League Psychic Academy here in Buffalo, New York, around that area. And this is a psychic school where I train people in psychic mediumship and Reiki and all kinds of things like that. You guys can Skype in from around the world if you're interested in classes. So check that out at the Ivy League PsychicAcademy.com. If you guys are interested in booking an actual reading with me, you can find me at Ivy Rivera, PsychicMedium.com, or Ivy Rivera on Facebook. So the first thing that I like to do when I start this show off is to give you a little bit of insight. I like to educate everybody on how to be a psychic medium yourself. And so one of the things that I want to talk about today before I start taking your calls or questions is about physical impressions. I was just going over with my students about how spirits come in to communicate with us, and we don't always realize that this is what's happening. And when they do that, we often will get a physical impression in our own body that actually came from the spirit. So a lot of people who have hypochondriac issues, or they have phantom pains and things like this, it could very well be coming from a spirit loved one on the other side who is trying to give you a message. So be mindful of the physical impressions that you have. I also want to say that we're all psychic. We are all mediums, even though we've turned it off to a large degree, and many of us are also empaths. Now, if you have a lot of empathic ability going on, and we do have a class coming up at the Academy called Empathic Means, which I would highly recommend to anyone who has this ability. When you have empathic ability, you can also pick up on physical impressions from others. So you could walk into a room, and when you get there, it's like showing up at work and you're feeling perfectly fine. But once you're there for a little while, you may start to notice that you have back pain, or you have flu-like symptoms, or you're feeling depression. And if you look around the room a little bit, some of the people that you're working with could very well be dealing with a divorce, or they had a car accident, they have back issues. Different things happen that we pick up on, and they don't all have to be physical. They could also be impressions to you mentally or for you emotionally. And so we call that telepathy also, picking up on other people's thoughts. And feelings is more a little bit like clairsentience. Okay, so be mindful of these abilities that we all have. I encourage you to feed your gifts, and to be open to receiving whatever it is that Spirit has to give to you, so that you no longer need a medium, so that you don't need a middleman to be doing this for you. I want to start getting to some of the questions. Let me see. Okay, I have one here from a Tamara. I don't know where you're from, but she writes in, I'm always feeling like there's a woman around me, and I'm not sure if I'm going crazy or not. Let me see what I'm getting with this. I'm pretty sure you're not going crazy. Let me double check. Okay. What I really feel is going on with this, it's almost as though you have several different guides who are around you a great deal. I have a woman who stands off to your left a lot of the time. And then I have someone who stands over to your right, who feels more like a male energy, who's also watching over you. And I am getting the impression that this is more of a protector guide. I also feel like your work guide is around you a great deal right now, so you may be looking at some change or transition within your job. At least there's a lot of encouragement going on in that direction. I almost feel like you need to finish up some training and education with that. So that's coming from your work guide. But when I go over to the left side, I'm feeling like there is a female over here, and I feel like that's your joy guide, who is also your spiritual development guide. Now, she would be responsible for all of your daily events, making sure that things are running smoothly for you. Hold on a minute. Okay. I feel like she's around a great deal. And I feel like you've had the same guide your entire life. So this was probably your imaginary friend way back when, and you've disassociated a little bit. Some of the things that she's showing me with you right now is being around you a great deal when you're like in the car. I feel like you're traveling from A to B. And I get the sense that you're going to work a lot. I also feel like you've got a lot of relationship questions, and she's trying to give you some insight in with that. I want to say too, it feels like she's communicating with you through your dreams quite a bit. The last 3 months, she says, last three to 4 months. So you may be having very vivid dreams. She's showing you waking up sweating, but I'm not sure that it was from a nightmare. I feel like you're very busy. And I want to say that some of your dreams have been so intense that you're actually waking up feeling almost like you can't wake up, like you can't move, like you're coming out of a coma type of a feeling, and your body may be dragging a lot. Know that she's communicating with you at night as well. Okay, so do get in touch with her. No, you're not crazy. Yes, we all have guides, and hopefully everybody will start working with them more. We certainly should be. Thank you, Tamara, for that question. I have another question here. What is my next girlfriend's name? That's a tough one. I always want to say this, that a lot of times with psychics and mediums, we get connector names, which can be somebody who would be surrounding that person. However, with you, I'm feeling like a C or a K name, almost more like a Christine, something like this. And I'm seeing a J or a G name, but I feel like that would have already happened. So I may be looking at the last person that you were with. I'm going to say to be in the safety zone, so you're not overlooking anything or overstepping this. Just stay within that range. That feels right to me. I also feel like a really great energy coming in with this person, almost like a teacher, a healer type. Feels to me like helping people, possibly training people up. In what she does, I feel a great deal of sensitivity, toward you. And I want to say, when I'm looking at that relationship, don't take advantage of someone else's kindness. Make sure that you're putting back into the pot. Okay, sometimes we think we are, and we're not as much as we need to. Okay, so good luck with that. Okay. And you're welcome. Somebody just texted back in. Thank you. That was amazing. I imagine that's Tamara. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, let me see what I have next. Here's another one coming from the 603 number. Then we'll go down through the rest of the line. Okay, so we have a 603 number questioning, will I ever be able to support myself and my daughter alone? Okay. Will I ever be able to support myself and my daughter alone? Let me see what I'm getting with that. I'm feeling like a bit of a long haul with this. I feel like there's a 2-year period, if we look over here to the past, where you're really struggling to pull this off. You felt like you were sort of on the right note. You felt like you were working at the job where you were supposed to be, and it almost feels like you're kind of plugging away a bit, like you're picking up additional skills, almost like you're working at your education a bit when you're doing this. And then it feels like that halts, and all of a sudden there's a very strong dividing line, and then we're kind of moving into something else. And then I feel like you're almost starting from scratch again. I'm supposed to say this. Okay. I do have your work guide here. I also have a grandfather who steps through, feels more like from mom's side of the family, feels tall and like a nice build on him. Listen, I'm gonna put it this way. Everything that you've been picking up on will be of use, including the skills from way back quite a ways where you thought you had like dead-end jobs. You're going to be using all of this. The thing is, I feel like you're in a little bit of a testing period that goes on for about 3 years. And so you're supposed to be really figuring out exactly what direction you want to be in. When I feel like you're pulling at your passion and you've figured that part out, then we're really flowing in the right direction. And so that would be the most important thing for you to focus on right now. Okay. It feels too like you would be reaching out and communicating with people, but also it feels like managing them because I'm seeing a lot of paperwork. But I'm also feeling like, and according to your grandfather, you would sort of be almost like a Wizard of Oz behind the cloak. You would be the one who goes behind closed doors and make plans for the company or for the position, okay, for these people. Okay, good. And I feel like once you really figure out that note, then you're going to be supported. In the meantime, I feel like you're, how do I want to say that? I feel like your lesson in the meantime is about gratitude for what you have and understanding that everything has been taken care of. I feel like your biggest concern is also the roof over your head. I don't always feel like it's little day, things. I feel like the roof over your head, know that your grandfather is working with you quite closely on that, and believe in blind faith for everything that you need. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Just figure out exactly what is in your life contract, okay, for you in that field. Thank you so much for that question. We have another one. Is that from a 619 I'm supposed to go to next?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a 619. Is my mom always around me? Let me see what's going on with that. I'm getting a lot of male energy with you, so I don't know if this is coming from a male or if you have a male near you, but I feel like I do have mom coming through and mentioning also, that male, and being around quite a great deal. Talking about right now, it's more about listening. I feel like she's trying to give you some messages. It feels like get back up on that bicycle and get pedaling. Hold on a minute here. And it almost looks like you've got about 5 to 6 months out where you're going to be looking at some change, some transition, and a lot of opportunities, she says. She's dropping gold coins up above you, which is a symbol in my symbol base for prosperity. But you have to understand, with the way the coins fall on the ground, it's up to you to pick them up. So it feels like the next 3 to 4 months you're going to be pedaling out. And then at 5 to 6 months, it feels like a lot of prosperity coming in. Okay. She says she is around you a great deal, but also I want to talk about some of the items that you have in your bedroom. I feel like if I'm in your bed, I'm going over to the right side of the wall, and then I'm coming a little bit closer to the bed. I feel like you have some of her things there. And I also feel like something taller, almost like a collectible. And then I feel like I'm also going in the living room or like the den area, and I feel like I'm going from the far point of that room. If I look all the way to the back, I'm going over to the left of that room, and I feel like 2 different areas. I feel like one area where you would have some of her pictures and her things in memorial, but also a male who feels more like a grandfather, I'm imagining to you, possibly like her dad or a dad energy. And just know that both of them do come through, and I'm seeing very light eyes, with him, and so just a ton of love. And I feel like she just says you're a star, so keep on shining. She loves you very, very much. Okay, thank you for that. Hold on a minute here. What's my next number?
348.
Okay. And here we go from a... Are you sure?
It's on there.
Okay.
There's also a 713 if we want to go there.
A 713 and then a 348. Mm-hmm. Okay, I found them. I'm going to start with the 713 and then we'll go back to that one.
Okay.
So here we have someone asking, what is the presence that I have in my house? Okay. All right. And before I get to that again, for anybody who's looking to log into the show with any of your questions, feel free to do that. But also you could text them to me at 716-602-1391. Okay, so what is the presence that I have in my house? Hold on a minute. Okay. Getting a couple different things. When I'm in your house and I'm all the way to the back, and I'm kind of looking more toward, it feels almost longer to me, and then it feels like there's something branching out off to the left side. I don't know if that's like an addition or just that's part of the house. It feels like it goes more outside. When I'm in there, I feel like there's a lot of male energy swirling about, and I would be more toward the left. And so I feel like a lot of the activity that you're having would be around bedroom, dwelling type areas where somebody would be resting a lot. And it feels like it's gravitating over that way. And it seems like there's also a bathroom over there, and then it feels like a closet across from it down that hallway. And so I'm also feeling the activity there. I am under the impression that you have 3 different things actually going on in the house. One feels a lot like more like a grandmother type energy. I feel a lady watching over the house a great deal. Almost feels like she either owned it or she was a part of it in some way. She claims sort of her territory, but she's really very watchful. with this male energy that I feel connected to that, I feel like he's a little bit of a cyclone. He's a little scattered, and I don't always feel like he has the best etiquette. You may be hearing a lot of noises and seeing things move, and it almost seems like it's in inopportune times, like you're trying to rest. It's very inconvenient for you, and I think that it really wouldn't hurt for you to set up some boundaries. My motto is we want to live in community as much as is humanly possible. So as much as you can just work with them, we want to do that. But I don't think this is something that you can't say to him, you know, could you be a little bit more quiet? You know, could you not act up at night, whatever it is, or stay only in this area of the house at night, whatever it is that you need. And I feel like you could get a pretty good turnout with that. It does seem like there's also another male who passes through quite a bit, but he feels more like I don't want to say a builder in the area necessarily. I think he did build something over to the right of your house, but back before it looked the way that it looks now. It feels like there's quite a lot of farm land, and I feel like he was connected to that in some way. He does wear a hat and kind of like a long coat. Almost reminds me of an old Western, but I don't think that you're from the West Coast necessarily. And he does come walking through quite a bit, but he's far more quiet. Okay, so I would say with this male, that's the majority of your noise, and then the grandmother type lady who walks through. Okay, just checking on things. I don't think trying to disturb you, but nonetheless, sometimes we need boundaries. What was the other number, Sway?
348.
Okay, so I'm going to go to a 348 number. Why am I so nervous about my doctor's appointment tomorrow? Well, who isn't? It's better than the dentist. Let's see what's going on with that. Okay. I feel like you're working yourself up a little bit. I feel like you're going to get some news that you don't necessarily care for. And it seems to me that it's not anything out of hand. I feel like this is something that you could really juggle and work with, and I actually feel like this has been there for a little while, and you've kind of had some questions about it. I do feel like it could very well, and I cannot prescribe or diagnose anything, but I do feel like it could be affecting your stomach area and sometimes almost in the head, causing like headaches or dizziness. I don't know that that part of it is actually going to come up at your appointment, but I would say that whatever things do come up from the physical, you might want to start tying into some of the other symptoms that you've been having and start narrowing it down, you know, what's going on. So I feel like you're actually going in to get some solutions to some rather elusive things that have been going on, and I feel good about all of that. I feel too like, just don't worry, it's not anything. Even if it were, it wouldn't be the kind of thing worth worrying about. Okay, so you're going to go in and you're going to find out what you find out. It's no big thing. You can handle it. Okay, good luck with all of that.
Okay, there's an 808.
An 808. All right, let me find my 808 number. And hold on a minute here. Okay, looks like I'm having a little trouble finding this.
480.
A 480. Okay. Bear with me, guys. Okay. Some of these seem to be elusive, which is a little strange. I did check before I went live, and everything was in order. Spirit has a way of manipulating things, so I don't know what to say. But we have a couple other callers coming in, so I'm just going to have to take these. And I do apologize for any, for any text that I didn't get to that I had intended to get to tonight. I'll check back here in a minute. But I'll be airing the show weekly. And I do have a radio show called Ask a Medium as well, and that's on Para X Radio. So you guys can always call in with those questions there as well. Okay? And if you are looking to book an extended appointment, again, Ivy Rivera, psychicmedium.com. Okay. So here's another question from an 860. Was that one of the ones we were looking for?
I believe so. It's hard to tell the number.
There we go. Okay. So they say, I don't understand why my boyfriend's sister doesn't want to get to know me. Will she ever welcome me into her family? Well, let's find out. Okay. This reminds me of the movie The Family Stone. A little bit. I don't want to overdo it. So what this feels like to me is some of it is in your imagination. So I'm just gonna go there first. Let's try to take responsibility for whatever we're feeling with that. First things first, within your own energy, it feels like this person is distracted a little bit, kind of wrapped up in their own world, a little immature, kind of a lot immature, not really in a position in life yet to be like looking about, concerned with other people. Am I making other people around me comfortable? None of that is really coming into play or into thought. On that note, you know, what that means is that she's not trying necessarily to offend you. She just sort of is in a little bit of an offensive place in life socially. The other thing that I'm feeling with it is that at times it is a little bit deliberate. So I also want to validate what you're feeling. I feel like this person automatically puts up walls, and the image that they're giving me is like almost like an astrological sign of a Cancer, which I can knock because I am in part 1. But it almost feels like the claws coming out. And so I feel like there's a bit of a wall, of a safety zone that this person likes to stay in. And sometimes it may start to go over your way where you're being blocked out a bit. I also feel like I don't want to be known. So let me put it this way. Instead of looking at it as though this person doesn't want to be more knowing of you, I would see it as though she doesn't want to be known, and leave her where she is. Okay, it's any situation like that anyways isn't worth $1 million to you anyhow. Focus on your man. Okay, thank you. Let me see what else we have here. Okay, what do you see me doing for work coming up? Okay, from Morocco. What do I see you doing for work? Let me see what's going on with this. The first thing that I'm seeing is travel. And it looks pretty fun. It looks pretty exciting. I feel like I'm on the East Coast going down. So I'm going to say Pittsburgh, Ohio, eventually North Carolina, South Carolina, but I don't know that we go quite that low. And it looks like you're going over water or you're near water a great deal. So that will be a part of it. And I'm actually feeling like you're kind of on a boat. So I'm not saying you're working on a boat the entire time, but it feels like a boat is somehow connected to this. And I'm actually watching you drive by it more than that, but it is there. Feels like you would be required to stay overnight quite a bit. So I feel good about that. I just feel like there's some question about money. It's almost like you're investing more money than you're getting out. It feels to me like I am looking at more media. And so I'm watching you working with the media quite a great deal. I'm also watching you write. And it feels like almost like a notepad, or how do I want to say it? Like a legal transcript pad, like a legal pad, a long legal pad. And it's something that I would be familiar with in like journalism. I'm watching you write things down. I'm watching you flipping through this. And it's as though it's all coming from your mind, but it's a way of incorporating creative nonfiction in with what would also be the truth. So it feels like there's historical elements here in what you're doing. So I'm just going to put it this way. It feels like the next few jobs in media that you would be doing would be pulling you over in that direction, East Coast down. And it would entail some kind of historical documentation that you would then be transferring into some kind of a writing that would be not a book necessarily, but more of excerpts that would describe images of what you're recording, and then in the long run I do see you trying to turn it into a book, and I feel that being very successful, but that's more of an international thing. So this will spark a lot of ideas, and you're supposed to keep track of everything that you're doing. Eventually it'll be a book, a much bigger book. Okay, thank you so much, Rocco.
Take a step back.
Okay. I think I have time for maybe one more. How am I doing on battery?
Oh, good.
Okay. So, and then I'll look back for those numbers. So we have a 242 number. Okay, hi Ivy. When will my next serious relationship be? Any ideas with who? Oh, okay. Wondering if I'm putting my energy into a relationship that is not going to happen. From Betty. Okay, let me see what I'm getting with this. You know, I do feel a funny 5-year period of of a lot of almost discomfort going on with you in the love life. And what I mean by that is you're not starting it now. You've been in it for 2 years. So it's like it's a 5-year period, but you've already got 2 years under the belt. The next 3 years feel to me like they're panning out the differences. I keep hearing from your relationship guide, she's panning out the differences. She's panning out the differences. Okay. This to me feels almost like you really need to start figuring out exactly what you want. And it looks as though you've been taking whatever lands, almost like whatever crumbs are kind of landing on the floor, and you're kind of like, meh, that could work. It's temporary anyways. I think that this attitude no longer really serves you. It was fine, but it also kept you in a waiting place. So this 5-year period is about learning. It's about your own development, and it's about you figuring out what you really, really love. And the way your relationship guide is showing it to me is almost like love coming out of you first. So it's about you figuring out, and it has been, it will continue to be for a while longer, about you figuring out really who you are and what you love about your own self, and then what will complement that. And then I feel you attracting this person. I want to say that the one that you're spending some time on now feels real sketchy to me in stability. And I actually feel like you're dealing with that for a year in theme, meaning that you will see a pattern of people who are sketchy in their stability. They're here, they're gone, they're with the weather, they're fair weather friends. So once you've completed your lessons within that cycle, you'll stop attracting that person. I'm also supposed to tell you that there's a gentleman who steps through who feels a lot like a grandfather to me. It does feel like he was quite bald. He feels shorter, has a little bit of meat on the bones, so I don't think he was actually that short. I think he just kind of had a lot of meat on the bones. And almost feels like maybe like a German or a Polish to me, kind of. And he mentions a nose, had a bit of a nose on him and lighter eyes. He's talking about marriage coming up with you. He shows me a wedding band, and he is talking about it's time, but it feels like the things that you're going to be learning are going to prepare you for that. So far before your 5-year mark is up with this, I am seeing marriage for you, but I'm not so sure that it's the person that you're with right now. Okay, so I would say, I'm going to stay with this person too. Keep them off to the wayside until they're ready to give you the respect that you feel you deserve. I feel like don't let it in at all, even to play. Okay, thank you very much for that question. Okay. All right, and I will take one more here, and then what I'm going to do is my dear assistant here will help me to possibly find these other questions that have gone elusive on us, and then we'll possibly be wrapping up the show. So here's another one from an 866 number. Hi, I was wondering if there are spirits in my house. Okay, and how is my brother doing? Is he ever with me? And this is from Cheryl. Let me see. When I'm going over here with your brother, okay, automatically, I mean, he's already in here. He came in with you, but, you know, he came in very quickly. So, and I'm feeling like the wind was knocked out of him. I'm almost feeling like he was either hit from behind or there was some strong impact upon his passing. And it feels like very damaging. Quite a lot of pain. Know that he's not in pain anymore. He's doing very, very well. And is around you quite a great deal. He's showing me cards and playing cards, so I feel like he's kind of a fun guy. I feel like he liked to play around, he liked to horse around, and he's talking about you playing your hand wisely and having quite a lucky hand. I feel like there are some things that have been going on with you the last year and 3 months, where you've dodged a lot of bullets, and so I feel like he's kind of your good luck charm. Okay, he's with you a great deal. Now, on that note, I don't feel like he's the only one in your house by any means, and it feels like there is some history on this house. When I'm saying that, I'm hearing from 2 different spirits who I feel lived there prior to you. I'm not saying that the house is excessively old. Different parts of the world, different time dates. I feel like I'm maybe only going back like maybe 100 years, which is not a big deal for like the Buffalo area. But it feels like there were some previous owners who took a lot of stock in the place. I don't believe that they were related, but I want to say the first owner that I'm watching who would walk through the house quite a great deal passed it down after they passed to a family member. So then there was that gap, and then there was this other person. So I'm feeling like a male energy who comes through quite a great deal. I'm feeling a female energy after that who would also be coming through quite a great deal, and then another male who would have been the owner. And it feels to me almost like the female in between who would have had the house passed down to her. It feels like she takes a lot of pride in the house, and she would be paying a lot of attention to, I want to say, the way that you decorate, the things that you touch, the way that things are. And there's something about almost like in the living room of the den area, there were doors there that aren't there anymore, or something was manipulated, and she's always looking at the door frame wondering, you know, what's really going on with that. It feels like a lot of really great energy, though. Okay, so enjoy, keep talking to them, and just know they're there watching over you in the house. I feel too like I'm supposed to say there were some children around that they're very fond of. I feel like a boy and a girl. Okay. And we have a couple thank you here, a couple thank yous. You guys are welcome. Thank you very much for logging into the show. Please do it again next week. And let me see if we can find some of these numbers. What were some of the ones we were missing?
808 and looks like 480.
I know my handwriting is not good.
No.
I do have a 480.
Okay.
It wasn't here before, but it's here now. Okay, so the 480, and I'll look for the 808, but we may be wrapping up the show after this. Let's see. My question for tonight is there a spirit that follows me around, or is there a spirit in my house? Do I notice it sometimes? Okay, and this is from Nick. Thank you, Nick. Well, I definitely feel like you're noticing it, but I feel like you're walking through the hallway when you're noticing it. I almost get that sense of like when you're running up the basement stairs and you're like, I'm not going to run up these basement stairs. I'm perfectly fine going up these stairs. And then you're like, yeah, I am going to run. And I get a sense of almost like speeding up behind you. I don't think the spirit's necessarily doing that, not intentionally anyways. I feel like it's more your reaction, almost psyching yourself out a little bit. But it does feel like somebody behind you watching. But I feel a still energy. I feel a male energy with that. And I feel like I am talking blood relations. So you have some loved ones watching over you quite a great deal. I do have to say with you, though, I'm watching you travel about, and I'm watching you being a little haunted. I tend to believe when I'm doing paranormal work that it's not always the house that's haunted. It's more often the people that are actually haunted, and that has a lot to do with our psychic abilities, our mediumistic abilities, our empathic abilities, and I feel like you have all three to a heightened degree compared to the average person. What that means is that when you're traveling about in life, spirits are traveling along with you. So I'm actually watching you going into some more paranormal type it looks like you're on some kind of ghost hunts or something, and it does feel like you're typically with other people. I feel sometimes almost like there are history tours, and it looks like at one point you're on water. There's water over to the left of you. You're going into something that looks either like a prison, or it was an asylum or some kind of a hospital. I feel like people felt trapped, and I'm watching you do this. And if you haven't done this yet, you know, then this would be coming. But it's this image in your energy of a moment where you're really realizing a lot more about your own abilities. And so I feel like I wouldn't recommend this to everybody, but I would recommend this to you because I feel like you have a good stronghold on things. So I feel like you're in a power position in dealing with your energy. I would recommend that you investigate a little more with these things to figure out exactly how spirit is communicating with you. You do have a lot of gifts or abilities, and I feel like you need to cultivate them a bit more so that your clairaudience is stronger. Clairaudience is the ability to hear what spirits are telling you in your head, okay? We think that it is our own thoughts, and it isn't. Humans are incredibly susceptible to this, so we always have to be careful of our mindset, okay? And in any situation like that, you would want to be careful if you're having negative thought patterns that they're probably not your own, all right? So let's be mindful. Okay, thank you so much, Nick. A lot of love around you, though. What was the other number, an 808?
Yes.
There it is. Unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Okay, and this will be our last one for the night. Hi, Ivy. I would like to know which spirit poked me in the forehead a few nights ago. Well, not a very cooperative one. However, what I am actually feeling with that is like a maternal, paternal type energy. So I feel like somebody trying to get your attention. You're not listening is what that is. I don't actually feel like it was a violent attempt at all. While it's annoying, we need it sometimes. That would be the equivalent of a kick in the pants, okay, from a loved one. I I do feel like primarily two females around you. One who feels more like a mom energy, one who feels more like a grandma energy. If mom is still here, then obviously I'm going to grandma and then great grandma. But there is a male in between who's around you quite a great deal, who feels like a grandfather energy, but he does act as one of your guides a lot of the time. So what I feel like you're really supposed to be doing is examining some stuff in your relationships right now, and also work. Be open to opportunities. I feel like you're supposed to be shifting things around, and what they're showing me is almost like if you were to hold on to papers and you were to take these papers, which usually represent like, you know, your power position, documents, official matters, and you would be shifting them around quite a bit. And I feel like that has a lot to do with preparation for you for things that could be coming up that would work very well for you in money and finances and work. But that does need to be addressed. Primarily, though, I feel like there are a lot of things that you're kind of ignoring, and I feel some back and forth with relationship stuff. And so I feel like I'm supposed to say, okay, it feels like ask for what you need. Be realistic about what you're giving. Okay, and follow your heart for what you feel is true. Okay, so it feels like clarity of mind, a little bit of clarity of mind needed with that. I would recommend a little bit more meditation with you. Okay, which is as simple as sitting for 10-15 minutes a day and just sitting in quiet and receiving whatever information, images, symbols, feelings come to you from your spirits on the other side that are helping you. All right, thank you so much, guys. I just want to say that I appreciate you tuning into the show. I'll be doing this again next, what's tonight, Sunday? Yeah. Next Sunday night at 9 p.m. So find me on here. Also, my Ask a Medium radio show is going to be launched on ParaX Radio on the 24th, and then that will be every Tuesday from there on out at 7 p.m. And find me on Facebook at Ivy Rivera. Thanks so much. Have a great night.